Now, folks, joining us is the Shadow Assistant Defence Minister and Army veteran, Phil Thompson. Phil, good to see you. Thank you for your service this morning. How was the service there?
It was a good service in Townsville. It was very emotional for me and others here as we pay our respects to those who have fallen in battle and to the many that have succumbed to their war within back here on home soil.
What's so, I mean, it's obvious, but what comes to mind, Phil? Why has it become so emotional for you on a day like today? What do you remember?
I remember a mate of mine called Ben Renato who was killed in action on the 18th of July 2009. In that same incident, Paul Warren lost his leg. I remember friends like Brad Carr, Jesse Bird, those who have succumbed to their war within on home soil. And I reflect on my service and my time in the Middle East and Afghanistan and where I was wounded in action. And I kind of just take a moment to pause and remember the times I had with my mates.
Are those names and those images kind of permanently tattooed in your mind, Phil?
Permanently tattooed in my mind and some on my body as well. They are people that I call brothers, people that are my family, people that were a part of my wedding when I was married. I remember Ben Renato, before we went to Afghanistan, told me where I was going and who I was working with, it was going to be very dangerous, and he cared more about his mates and their well-being, and he was tragically killed in action.
We just saw the images of the dawn service in Canberra today. Huge crowds there, Phil, 30,000 there. How does that marry up with the crowds there in Townsville? And you know, a boost that following COVID, you know, there hasn't been a turn-off from people wanting to go and remember at dawn services.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers here in Townsville, but I would say per capita, I would think that we would have more than anywhere else in the country. We're the largest garrison city. We have one of the largest veteran populations here. People turn out in the thousands to support the brave men and women who put on the uniform every day and those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in combat. And I think it's a testament to Australia and them getting around their veterans.
And we have wars that are taking place right now. It's a reminder that danger is an ever-present, Phil. We've also got the Defence Strategic Review that was released yesterday, the declassified version. Again, a reminder that war is a trigger away.
It is, and just on the Defence Strategic Review, I am absolutely appalled that this Prime Minister and this Defence Minister are so out of touch to release the Defence Strategic Review the day before Anzac Day on Kapyong Day for 3 Area, which is a mechanised battalion that essentially have been told that they'll be losing their mechanised capability, which will in turn change how they do business. I think that this Prime Minister is so out of touch, is disgraceful and disrespectful for what he did, and it really, to be honest, mate, it pisses me off how out of touch and misstep that they did to release the DSR the day before Anzac Day.
I made this point yesterday. I didn't quite understand it, to be honest, Phil. I mean, it was weird. I didn't know why it could have waited until Wednesday to release that. Have you tried to understand perhaps why they tried to sneak it through?
I thought maybe because they're cutting the infantry fighting vehicle, slashing that. I thought that may be the case, but I'm sure that people around the Prime Minister and the Minister for Defence would have known that Kapyong Day, which is a battle that the 3rd Battalion fought in Korea, are a mechanised unit. It's one of their most sacred days, and to wake up and open up their news feed and be told that they're pretty much not going to be mechanised anymore, and everything they've done and trained for is going to be thrown out the door, and to do it the day before Anzac Day, I'm baffled. And I'm hearing from soldiers at all levels that, you know, people want to discharge now. They don't feel valued. They haven't been listened to. Even the Chief of Army came out recently and said that we need the infantry fighting vehicles because it's going to save lives. It's going to protect our soldiers. And for the Prime Minister and Richard Marles to really fumble it and be out of step with the community, I think is disgraceful, and their actions should absolutely be called out.
And how much, conversely to that, how much of a boost is the improvement to the ADF's operations in Northern Australia?
Well, you can't boost the Northern Australia capability if you're taking away the only mechanised battalion out of the north. So on operations, whether you're looking into Ukraine or into the Middle East, you know that there is an absolute role for mechanised operations. And to say that now Northern Australia is a focus, and that is, you know, what we're talking about when it comes to protecting Australia and the regions, but then to cut how you would do that job, I think that it doesn't boost the north. It actually cuts from the north, and it's going to cost jobs. It's also going to cost retention. It's going to lower our retention rate here. So I don't think they have consulted people correctly, and they definitely haven't been speaking to soldiers on the ground, because I was with the mechanised battalion and none of them got spoken to by anyone in the DSR or the government. Yeah,
no, I've got to share your point there. I did think it was bizarre releasing the declassified version yesterday on a day before Anzac Day, when they'll be trying to sell it the day after Anzac Day. But Phil, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, and once again, thank you for your service.